السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدنا علما، ربي زدنا علما، ربي زدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, beloved sisters. We will continue the study of Surah An-Nisa. Up until now, we have read the passages about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained fighting upon Muslims, and that is due to the history of prior to migration from Mecca to Medina. So it is based on that history. Now, the passages we are going to study are talking about if a Muslim commits a crime, and it depends on what type of crime is committed. Was it intentional or unintentional? So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In ayah number 92, it is not for a believer Muslim to kill any believer except by mistake. Whoever kills a believer by mistake, then a believing slave has to be freed, and the blood money must be paid to his family unless they forego it. Here, killing by mistake means that the killer did not intend to kill the victim, but he was killed by his unintentional act. For example, he wanted to shoot an animal, but he missed target, shot a human being. If both the killer and the victim are Muslim, in such case, the killer has two obligations. First, he must offer kafara by freeing a Muslim slave. If no slave is found, as it is in our days, there are no slaves, he has to fast for 2 consecutive months. Secondly, he has to pay blood money, which is the diya, to the heirs of the victim, which will be distributed between the heirs according to their share in inheritance. If the killer is a non-Muslim living in a Muslim country, he has to pay blood money only, and there's no kafara obligated on him. So we continue the verse. If he, the victim, belongs to a people hostile to you and is a believer, then a believing slave has to be freed. Here, if a Muslim lives in a non-Muslim country hostile to the Muslims in the sense that Muslims have no treaty with it, and he is killed by a Muslim, blood money is not payable because he was not under the protection of an Islamic state which has no authority over the hostile country. We continue the verse 92. If he, the victim, belongs to a people between whom and you there is a treaty, then blood money is to be paid to his family and a believing slave is to be freed. Whoever does not find one has to fast for 2 consecutive months. This is repentance prescribed from Allah's side. Allah is all knowing, all wise. Now, in the third part, where you have a treaty between you and the hostile country, when the victim of killing by mistake is a non-Muslim living legally in an Islamic state, or musta'min, a non-Muslim who is visiting an Islamic state with permission. In both cases, he is protected by the treaty or the covenant he has with the Islamic State. Therefore, blood money is to be paid by the killer to his family. And if the killer is a Muslim, he has to offer kafara as well. I number 93 mentioned whoever kills a believer deliberately, his reward is Jahannam, hell, where he shall remain forever. And Allah shall be angry with him and shall cast curse upon him, and he has prepared for him a mighty punishment. Ayah 94 mentions, O you who believe, when you go out in the way of Allah, be careful and do not say to the one who offers you salam, a salutation, you are not a believer, to seek stuff of worldly life. There is a particular incident in which a Sahaba um, actually killed someone who pretended to be Muslim, either by salutation, which is saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, or the person recited the kalima. But the Sahaba thought that they were doing so to save their lives during the battle. Here, the rule laid down by this verse is that if a person claims to be a Muslim, we have to treat him as Muslim. And this is a universal rule. If a person claims to be a Muslim, we have to treat him as Muslim, unless otherwise is proved, unless it is proved that he is not. We are concerned with his apparent belief and actions. If they are in accordance with Islamic belief and actions, we have no right to hold him as non-Muslim merely on the basis of our guess that his claim is hypocrisy. It does not, however, cover a person who openly professes belief against the fundamental of Islam and still claims to be a Muslim. He has to be declared and treated as non-Muslim, because not only his inner state of heart, but also his apparent belief are against the well-established articles of faith. So here it has been clarified that if it is known that his beliefs are against the fundamentals of Islam, in that case, you are not to believe him. But if he is a total stranger, we don't know nothing about him, he claims to be a Muslim, then you take it as a face value. So with Allah, there are spoils in abundance. In the same state you were before, then Allah favored you. So be careful. Surely Allah is all aware of what you do. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in the same state you were before, it's to remind people that before accepting Islam, you were also in that state of the person. 95 says, those among the believers who sit back accept the handicapped are not equal to those who fight in the way of Allah with their riches and their lives. Allah has raised the rank of those who fight with their riches and their lives over those who sit, and to each Allah has promised good. Allah has given precedence to those who fight over those who sit in giving them a great reward. An exception is made to people who are handicapped or weak, but encouragement is provided to those who fight in the path of Allah or also spend in the path of Allah. This statement relates to a situation in which the fighting has not yet become farz al-ain, obligatory on each and every person, but once it becomes farz al-ain, no one is allowed to stay behind. Ayah 96 mentions high ranks from him, Allah, and forgiveness and mercy. Allah is most forgiving, very merciful. Now, those whose souls the angels take while they have wronged themselves, the angels say to them, in what business were you involved? They say, we were oppressed in the earth. They say, was not the earth of Allah wide enough for you to immigrate to it? Those people are such that their refuge is Jahannam. It is an evil place to return. Except the oppressed men and women and children who cannot have means to immigrate nor can find a way. As for such, it is likely that Allah would pardon them. Allah is most pardoning, most forgiving. Whoever migrates in the way of Allah shall find on the earth many a place to settle and a wide dimension of resources. Whoever leaves his home migrating for the sake of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and death overtakes him, then his reward is established with Allah. Allah is most forgiving and very merciful. As mentioned earlier, it was mandatory in the early days of Islam that Muslim living in Mecca immigrate to Medina. Verse 97 states that those who do not immigrate despite their ability to do so deserve a severe punishment. It is mentioned that when such people die, the angels ask them why they did not immigrate. Having no plausible excuses, they will be punished in Jahannam. The word wronged themselves refer to their violation of the command to immigrate. However, verse 98 accepts those who had no means to immigrate. Verse 100 mentions the merit of leaving one's homeland for the sake of Allah. When you travel on the earth, there is no sin on you in shortening your salah. If you fear that the disbelievers would put you in trouble, surely the believers are an open enemy for you. Now, here, shortening the prayer from 4 rak'ah to 2 is called qasr, which is a concession available in every travel, even in a peaceful journey. But the concession of performing congregational prayer in 2 parts is called salatul khawf, which is explained in verse 100 and 102. This type of shortening is restricted to the state of war, where prayer cannot be performed in a single congregation. Since the verse was revealed in the context of war, the words "if you fear" are added as a matter of fact, because the Muslim in this situation needed both type of concession. These words are not added as precondition for availing the concession of the first type of qasr. Now, in Ayah 102, when you, O Prophet, are in their midst and arrange for them the salah, then a party from them should stand with you and should take their arms along. Then, once they perform sajda, they should move away from you, and the other party that has not yet performed salah should come and perform salah with you and should take their precautionary measure and their arms. Those who disbelieve would want you to become heedless to your arms and your belongings so that they come down upon you in a single move. There is no sin on you if you have some inconvenience due to rain or you are sick in putting your arms aside, but take your precautionary measures. Surely Allah has prepared for the disbeliever a humiliating punishment. So in Ayah 102, the way the Salatul Khawf must be performed is mentioned in detail. Ayah number 103 mentions once you have finished your salah, then remember Allah while standing, sitting, and reclining. As soon as you are secure, perform salah as due. Surely salah is an obligation on the believers that is tied up with time. 104 says, do not show weakness in pursuing these people. And another explanation about salah is an obligation on the believer that is tied up with time is to state that you must perform a salah when its time is due and not before the time it is due. Do not show weakness in pursuing these people. If you are suffering, they are suffering as you are suffering. While you hope from Allah what they do not hope, Allah is all knowing and all wise. Surely we have revealed to you the book with the truth, so that you may judge between people according to what Allah has shown you. Do not be an advocate for those who breach trust. So in verses 106 to 113, which are upcoming, they were revealed in the context of an incident. Ibn Ubayriq, probably a hypocrite, committed theft in the house of Rafa'i and deposited the stolen property with a Jew. When asked about the theft, he attributed the theft to the Jew from whose possession the stolen property was recovered. Rafa'i, the victim of the theft, and his family were accusing Ibn Ubayriq, the real culprit. since the property was recovered from the Jew and some of its traces were found all the way from the house of Rafai to the house of the Jew, which were artificially created by the culprit, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the beginning inclined to hold the Jew guilty. He also reprimanded Rafai for accusing Ibn Ubayriq. The present verse were revealed to disclose the real facts. The Jew was accordingly acquitted and Ibn Ubayriq was convicted. But he managed to escape Makkah and after joining the infidels died in the miserable condition. Though revealed in the background of this incident, verse 106, 107, and 109, through their general language, lay down fundamental guidance to the judiciary and the bar. It enjoins the judiciary to educate subject to the rules and principles revealed by Allah and upon the pleaders to plead only for rightful persons. It has been forbidden to become an advocate of wrongful litigants. Verse 108 warns the culprit that they cannot hide themselves from Allah. So, verse number 106 says, seek forgiveness from Allah. Surely Allah is all forgiving, very merciful. Do not argue on behalf of those who betray themselves. Surely Allah does not like anyone who is a sinful betrayer. They feel shy before people, but do not feel shy before Allah. He, Allah, is with them when they make plans at night to give a statement. Allah does not like, Allah encompasses whatever they do. Look, this is what you are. You have argued for them in the worldly life, but who shall argue for them with Allah on the day of judgment, or who shall be their defender? Whoever acts evil or wrongs himself, then seeks forgiveness from Allah, he shall find Allah most forgiving, most merciful. Whoever commits a sin commits it only against himself. Allah is all knowing and all wise. Whoever commits a vice or a sin, then shifts its blame to an innocent person, he indeed takes the burden of a false imputation and a glaring sin. Ayah number 113 says, if the grace of Allah and His mercy had not been with you, a group from them had resolved to mislead you, while they misled none but themselves, and they can do you no harm. Allah has revealed to you the book and the wisdom and has taught you what you did not know. The grace of Allah on you has always been great. Ayah 114 mentions there is no good in most of their whispering unless one bids charity or a fair action or reconciliation between people. The one who does this to seek Allah's pleasure, we shall give him a great reward. And number 115 mentions whoever breaks away with the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam after the right path has become clear to him and follows what is not the way of believers, we shall let him have what he choose, and we shall admit him to Jahannam, which is an evil place to return. Surely Allah does not forgive that a partner is ascribed to him and forgives anything short of that for whomsoever he wills. Whoever ascribes a partner to Allah has indeed gone far astray. They invoke none beside him but feminine objects, and they invoke none but Shaitan, the rebel. The pagans of Makkah mostly treated their idol as feminine in gender. So, whom Allah has cursed? Allah has cursed the Shaitan. He, the Shaitan, said, surely I will take an appointed share from your slave. So that is a share of obedience in the sense that they will obey Shaitan. So some of the people, what Shaitan has said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will certainly take an appointed share of obedient slave of Allah. So he will mislead them. In Ayah 119, it is mentioned, and I will lead them astray, and I will tempt them with false hopes, and I will command them whereby they shall slit the ears of cattle, and I will command them whereby they shall alter the creation of Allah. Whoever takes the shaitan for a friend instead of Allah incurs an obvious loss. So, ayah number 119, it refers to the pagan custom whereby they used to dedicate animal to their idols and slit their ear as a mark of dedication. Altering the creation of Allah refers to altering the figure of a creation, of a creature, altering the figure of a creature. It includes what they did with the animals as a token of dedication, and according to an authentic hadith, it also includes tattooing the body or some similar act that changed the look of the face permanently. Ayah number 120 says, the shaitan makes promises to them and he tempts them with hopes. The shaitan does not make a promise to them but to deceive. Ayah number 121 mentions, as for such people, their refuge is Jahannam and they shall find no escape from it. Those who believe and do good deeds, we shall admit them to gardens beneath which rivers flow. They shall live there forever, it being a real promise from Allah, and who is more truthful than Allah in this word, in His word. This is not a matter of your fancies or the fancies of the people of the book. Whoever does evil shall be required for it, and he shall find neither a friend for himself beside Allah nor a helper. So here it means that paradise cannot be achieved by desires and fancies. Instead, it depends on one's actual deeds. Ayah number 124 mentions whoever, male or female, does good deed and is a believer, then such people shall enter paradise, and they shall not be wronged in the least. 125 mentions who is better in faith than one who has surrendered his self to Allah and is good in deeds and has followed the creed of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the upright. Allah has made Ibrahim alayhi salam a friend. To Allah belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth. Allah encompasses everything. Ayah number 127 mentions, they ask you about women, say Allah answers you about them. And so does what is recited to you from the book regarding orphaned women, whom you do not give what is prescribed for them and tend to marry them. And regarding the weak of the children, and that you should maintain justice for the orphans. Whatever good you do, Allah is aware of it. So here, the Quranic expression admits two possible translations. The first, and tend to marry them, which refers to people who, attracted to the beauty of the orphan girl, used to marry them without giving them the mahar or the right of a wife. The second possible translation is, and you avoid marrying them, is it refers to people who did not marry the orphan girl because of their unattractive features, but at the same time, they did not let her marry others because they wanted their wealth to remain in their hands. In ayah number 128, if a woman fears ill treatment or aversion from her husband, then there is no sin on them in entering into a compromise between them. Compromise is better. Avarice is made to be present in human souls. If you do good and fear Allah, then Allah is all aware of what you do. Ayah number 129 mentions, you shall never be able to maintain real equality between wives, even though you are eager to. So do not lean totally towards one and leave the other as suspended. If you act righteously and fear Allah, then Allah is most forgiving and very merciful. So here this ayah refers to equality in love. Since it is beyond one's control, Allah has forgiven if one has more love for a wife than the other. But equality must be maintained between both in treatment. 130 mentions, if they separate, Allah shall, through His capacity, make each of them need free of the other. Allah is all embracing, all wise. 131 mentions to Allah belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth. We have ordered those who were given the book before you and ordered you yourself to fear Allah. If you disbelieve, then surely to Allah belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth. Allah is all independent, ever praised. To Allah belongs what is in the heavens and what is in the earth, and Allah is enough to trust in. Here, the sentence has been repeated 3 times in these 2 verses. The emphasis in the first sentence is on Allah's all embracing power that lacks nothing. The objective in the second sentence is to assert that disbelief of human being does not affect him in the least, while the third sentence point out to his infinite mercy that is ready to embrace those who embrace faith in him and submit to him in obedience. Ayah number 133 mentions, if he so wills, he can remove you, O men, and bring others in your place. Allah has the power to do so. 134 mentions, whoever seeks the reward of this world, then with Allah is the reward of this world and of the hereafter. Allah is all hearing and all seeing. Ayah number 135 mentions, O you who believe, be upholders of justice, witnesses for Allah, even though against the interest of yourselves or parents and kinsmen. One may be rich or poor, Allah is a better caretaker of both. So do not follow desire, lest you should swerve. If you twist or avoid the evidence, then Allah is all aware of what you're doing. Here, the sense is that the poverty of someone should not prompt you to give false evidence in his favor, because Allah will take care of him in a just way. Ayah number 136 mentions, O you who believe, do believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the book He has revealed to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the books He has revealed earlier. Whoever disbelieves in Allah and His angels and His books and His messengers and the last day has indeed gone far astray. Surely those who believed and then disbelieved, believed again and then disbelieved, then went on increasing in their disbelief, Allah is not to forgive them nor lead them on the path. 138 mentions, give the hypocrites the good news that for them there is a painful punishment. 139 mentions, those who take the disbelievers for friends rather than the believers, are they seeking honor in their company? But indeed, all honor belongs to Allah. 140 mentions, and He has revealed to you in the book that when you hear the verses of Allah being disbelieved and ridiculed, you should not sit with them unless they enter into some other discourse. You, in that case, would be like them. Surely Allah is to gather all hypocrites and disbelievers in Jahannam. Ayah number 141 mentions those who look for a misfortune for you. So if there's a victory for you, they say, were we not with you? But if there is a gain for the disbelievers, they say to them, had we not overpowered you, still protected you from the believers? So Allah will decide between you on the doomsday. Allah shall never give the disbeliever a way against the believers. And number 141 mentions those who look for a misfortune for you. So if there's a victory for you, they say, were we not with you? But if there's a gain for the disbelievers, they say to them, had we not overpowered you, still protected you from the believers? So Allah will decide between you on the doomsday. Allah shall never give the disbeliever a way against the believers. Surely the hypocrites try to deceive Allah while He is the one who leaves them in deception. And when they stand for Salah, they stand up lazily, only to show people, and do not remember Allah but a little. In 143, it is said, wavering between this and that, neither here nor there. Whomsoever Allah lets go astray, you shall never find a way for him. 144 mentioned, O you who believe, do not take the disbeliever for friends instead of the believers. Do you want to produce before Allah a clear evidence against yourselves? 145 mentioned, surely the hypocrites are in the lowest level of the fire, and you shall never find for them a helper. 146 mentioned, except those who repent and correct themselves and hold on to Allah and make their faith pure for Allah. So those are with the believers, and Allah will give the believers a great reward. Ayah number 147 mentions, what would Allah get by punishing you? If you are grateful and believe, Allah is appreciating and all knowing. Today we have completed juz number 5 with ayah number 147 of Surah An-Nisa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am starting juz 6, La Yuhibbullah, and I will try to explain in translation as well as a little bit tafsir. So I will start from La Yuhibbullah, which is starting of juz 6. Ayah number 147. Allah does not like the evil word to be said openly except from anyone wronged. This it means that uttering bad words and for other is not permissible in normal conditions because it is included when you say bad words or you would say something that is not good or bad words. So that would include either hubba, backbiting, or maybe the language that is maybe abusive. So both things are not permissible. But if the person, there's only one condition when if the person is facing like unjust attitude from another one, so it is allowed for him to complain about it before others. And then I'll go to ayah number 148. If you do a good act openly or do it secret or forgive an evil deed, then Allah is all forgiven, all powerful. Ayah 149. Surely those who believe in Allah and His Messenger and wish to make division between Allah and His messengers and say, we believe in some messengers and disbelieve in some others, and wish to take away in between that. Ayah number 150, those are disbelievers in reality, and we have prepared a humiliating punishment for disbelievers. Ayah 151, those who have believed in Allah and His Messenger and have made no division between any of them, to them He will give their reward. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Ayah number 152. The people of the book ask you to bring down upon them a book from heaven, which is not strange, as they had asked Musa something greater than that, when they said, make us see Yahuwah openly. So the thunderbolt took them for the wrong they did. Later they took to themselves the calf, even after the clear sign had come to them. Then we forgave them. We gave Musa an open authority. Ayah number 153. We raised the mount of Thor high over them for binding them to the pledge. And we said them, do not transgress in the matter of Sabt. We took from them a firm pledge. I'll explain a little bit, like this was already been explained in Surah Al-Baqarah. If you want to go and have the events about the Sabt, it would be in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 54 to 656, and Surah number 7. Also on 147, if you want to go through the notes, you would find out. I'll move forward 154. So they met their fate and breaking their pledge, and for their disbeliefs in the verses of Allah, and for their slaying of the Prophet unjustly, and for their saying, our hearts are sealed. Rather, Allah has set seal over their Allah has set seal over them for their disbelief, so they do not believe but a little. Ayah number 155 ended. One and for their disbeliefs and for what they said against Maryam as a crime imputation. 156 ended. And for their saying, we have certainly killed Musa. Sorry, let me repeat. We have certainly killed the Masih, Isa, the son of Maryam, and the messenger of Allah, while in fact they did not, they did neither kill him nor crucify him, but they were deluded by the resemblance. So I'll explain a little bit here. That what does it means about the resemblance? It means that another person who resembled Isa alayhi salam was killed by Jewish. Those who disputed in this matter are certainly in doubt. So this is actually what happened while Isa alayhi salam was lifted by Allah to the heaven, and the Jewish believed that they had killed him. The Holy Quran does not name the person who was actually killed. Some reports says that he was one of the Jesus companion who sacrificed himself to save Isa alayhi salam, and his face resembled to the prophet. On the other hand, the other reporter says that it was the very person who led the Jewish to the house where Isa alayhi salam was staying. He entered the house but came out with the face resembling Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, and the Jewish killed him. But as I mentioned, nothing can be said certainly. What is certain according to the Holy Quran is that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam was lifted by Allah to the heaven, and the Jewish confused someone else with him. I'll go to ayah back on ayah number 157. Those who disputed in this matter are certainly in doubt about it. They have no knowledge of it, but they follow whims. It is absolutely certain that they did not kill him. Ayah number 158. But Allah lifted him towards himself. Allah is almighty, all wise indeed. No one will no one will remain from among the people of the book, but will certainly believe in him before he dies. Just a little description on that. This verse indicate that there's a big you know debate going on. So this about Hazrat Isa alayhi salam will return to the world or not. So this verse indicate that Isa alayhi salam will come back again to this world before the day of judgment. This is ayah is actually the proof of all those arguments. And then all the people of the book will truly believe in him before he dies a normal death. Some commentator, however, suggested that the pronouns he dies refer to one among the people of the book, and the sense is that every Jewish and Christian will believe in Isa alayhi salam as a prophet and not as a god immediately before his death, when he will witness the scenes of Barza, the state between the death and the day of judgment. So, ayah number 159. No one will remain from among the people of the book, but will certainly believe in him before he dies. I explained this ayah, this part, and now I'll move forward to the same ayah. And the day of doom, he shall be witness against them. Ayah 160. So, because of transgression of those who became Jewish, we prohibited for them good things which were made lawful for them earlier, and for their preventing people very often from the way of Allah. Explaining ayah number 160 a little bit. If you, because this is gonna be in detail, so when we will go on Surah number 6, you would know what was actually as a punishment to Jewish people, whatever was halal on for them became haram, like unlawful for them. But you will get more description when we will go on to Surah number 6. So let's move on to ayah number 162, 161, I'm sorry. And for their charging riba, interest, while they were forbidden from it, and for their devouring of the properties of the people by false means. We have prepared for the disbelievers among them a painful punishment. Ayah number 162. But those well grounded in knowledge among them and the believers believes in what has been revealed to you and what has been revealed before you, as well as those observing Salah and praying Zakah and those believing in Allah and the last day. To them we shall give a great reward. Ayah number 163. We have revealed to you as we have revealed as we have revealed to Noah and to the prophet after him. And we have revealed to Ibrahim, Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub alayhi salam, and their children, and to Isa, Ayub, Yunus, Harun, and Sulaiman alayhi salam, and we have given Zabur to Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam. Ayah number 164. We have sent some messenger we have already told you about, and some other messengers we did not tell you about. And Allah has spoken to Musa verbally. Then I'll go to next ayah, which is ayah number 165. Messenger giving good tidings and warning, so that people may have no plea against Allah after the messenger have come down. Allah is Almighty, All-Wise. Ayah number 166. But Allah bears witness that what He has revealed to you has revealed it with His knowledge. I'll repeat this again. But Allah bear witness that what He has revealed to you has revealed it with His knowledge. The angels too bear witness, though Allah is sufficient as witness. Ayah 167. Surely those who disbelieved and prevented people from the way of Allah have gone far astray. Ayah number 168. Surely those who disbelieved and transgressed, Allah is not going to forgive them, nor to lead them to a way. Ayah 169. Other than the way of Jahannam, where they are to remain forever. That is easy for Allah. 170. O people, the messenger has come to you with the truth from the Lord. So believe. That is good for you. If you disbelieve, then to Allah belong what is in the heaven and the earth. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. Ayah 171. O people of book, do not excessive in your faith, and do not say about Allah anything but the truth. As you see, there is a word ghulu. Let me explain what the ghulu is. So the original word used in Quran for the excessiveness is ghulu, which means to exceed the proper bounds. What does it mean? It is normally used in a situation where one is overindulged in something that is good in principle, but his excessive involvement makes it irreproachable. The ghulu of Jewish. Let me explain. There were two types of ghulu. One as explained, there were Jewish and Christians. So the what Hulu, the Jewish was doing, that they had certain lawful things that they make unlawful, while the and while the Hulu of Christian was that they have exceed the bounds in showing their respect to Isa alayhi salam when they took him as the Messiah, right? Sorry, as they took him to God or Son of God. Okay, so these are the two different type of glue I explained. Let me just give a little recap. The Jewish were so excessive, like, and then they were so cautious that they make some lawful things unlawful for them. Uh, on the other hand, what Christians were doing, that Nauzubillah, what they did is like they were so over, in love with their prophet that they made him Nauzubillah, son of God. And number 171. Masih Isa, the son of Maryam, is only a messenger of Allah and his word that he had delivered to Maryam, and the spirit from him. Ayah number, I'll explain a little bit again on this ayah number 67. His word means that Isa alayhi salam was born by the direct command of Allah. Be. So Allah commanded be, and a spirit from him means that Allah had blown a spirit in him without the mediation of Father. And we have already explained in Surah number 3, ayah number 7, the same thing. So, I will continue on ayah number 171. So believe in Allah and His Messenger. Do not say three. Three, the Trinity, that usually Christian people say. Stop it. That is good for you. Allah is the only one God. He is far too pure to have a son. To Him belong what is in the heaven and what is in the earth, and Allah is enough to trust in. Ayah number 172. The Masih shall never scorn to be a slave of Allah, nor shall the angels who are stationed near to him. And whoever scorns to worship him and shows arrogance, then he shall gather all of them before himself. Ayah 173. As for those who believe and do good deeds, he shall give them the reward in full and give them more out of his grace. But to those who spurn and shows arrogance, he shall give a painful punishment, and they shall find for themselves neither a friend other than Allah nor a helper. Ayah 173. Just changing the page. Sorry, 174. O people, a proof has come to you from your Lord, and we have sent down a vivid to you a vivid light. Ayah 175. Now those who believe in Allah and hold on to Him, He shall admit them into mercy from Him and grace, and shall let them to Himself through a straight path. Like how we always ask, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. So this is the dua, sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim. We always have to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that Allah ta'ala give us the right path and direct it to the straight path. The seek of ruling. I'm starting the ayah number 176, and there is one more ruling that we already discussed about the distribution of what is in the virasa. So the seek of ruling from you, say Allah give you the ruling concerning kalala. If a person dies having no son, but he does have a sister, then she will get one half of what he leaves. On the other hand, he will inherit her if she has no child. If there are two sisters, they will get 2/3 of what he leaves. If they are brothers and sisters, both male and female, then the male will get a share equal to that of two females. So male will get the share equal to that of two female. Allah explains to you, lest you you should go astray, Allah has full knowledge of everything. So, as I explained, Kalala means the person who left neither father nor a son or nor a daughter.
So, Alhamdulillah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the verses that we are, the passages that we are reading, that He make it possible for us to also understand them, and that He make it possible for us to implement them in our lives, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله